Hi everybody! Oh fuck, what the hell am I gonna talk about? There's literally nothing to talk about right now. Huh? Yeah, hold up. Yeah, what do you want? There's new game changing shit!
No fucking way.
There's new game changing
No
shit!
fucking way. No, that's not true.
There's new shit!
That's
not true. That's not Alright, failers, so the spring update came out, I think, yesterday, right? And I didn't cover it because I had a shit day! Okay, so we're going to be talking about it today, so let's go ahead and do this. So, the part in specific that I'm going to be talking about is the new gameplay features part, right? So, it says, it's in the Q&A section. And they're like the February studio updates, so that the future expansions will include combat features and didn't include elite specializations at all. What does that mean? And they basically said, yeah, no, we're not doing elite specs. There's not a lot of design space to add new and different roles for each profession. Which personally, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, why does each elite spec need a different role than the other? It can fulfill this. It can fulfill DPS and do it in a different, more flavored way. You know, it's like playing, like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, like if you look at like two power DPS classes and compare them to each other, it's like, yeah, they do the same fucking shit, they just do it with like a different flavor, you know? And it's like, I genuinely am trying to wrap my head around this. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't understand like the point here, you know? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, like when I think of like engineer, right? Like they could do another damage-based elite spec, right? They could do something really easy or whatever, and make it so it's an actual golemancer or whatever the fuck, where you actually go in the golem and shit. And they could fucking do that, man. And that's just like one example of something that could eventually happen for like an elite spec. And I've never been on that like train that like they need to do a different, like they need to innovate and do something completely different for another elite spec. I don't think that's necessary. I think if they just give us a different playstyle, right, like Ranger for instance, I would love just a pet based elite spec, you know, and it could be similar to Untamed, it could be similar to core fucking Ranger. I don't care. I just want my pet to do a lot of damage, okay? And it doesn't need to be this insane thing for me to feel like it's different. I don't know, you get what I mean, right? I've never been on board with that. I don't know why people think that way. It's just like, what? We don't need anyway. So basically they said with our next expansion, our goal is to further augment the combat options for each profession by adding new tools to their arsenal, and by lifting constraints that will unlock an unprecedented number of playstyle customization options. So I have a list here of things that could and it also says, while keeping the feel of the Guild Wars 2 combat true to its origins. Okay, so that's it. The key part, I think, of this is that they seem to have like both of that. So by adding new tools to their arsenal and by lifting constraints that will unlock an unprecedented number of playstyle customization options. And they don't say for elite specs or whatever. They say for each profession, okay? So there's a variety of things that could happen here. There could be multiple things that could happen. It could be one thing. I think it really just depends on what's going to happen. You know, I think this could be interpreted a ton of ways. Like something like you could technically say that unlocking the weapons that are tied to the elite specializations could be adding new tools to a profession's arsenal. But it's like, that's the profession though, you know? I don't know. I like thinking of it like there's so many like different things that can happen here. But here's some things we're going to get out of the way that are definitely not going to happen, okay? One, of course, is elite specs. That's obviously off the table at this point, despite my, you know, personal disagreement with things. I think they could probably do 3 elite specs per expansion, but it is what it is. An idea I did see was unlocking the skills related to elite specs, so, you know, your utility skills and shit like that. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that would be dumb. Like when I think of Reaper, right? I think of like, obviously I think of the Greatsword, but I would be perfectly fine using the Greatsword on like Scourge or Harbinger. But using the shouts and shit, I would not. No, I don't want that, man. So I think that the weapons is good enough, but the skills, having every you know, elite spec or whatever being able to use another elite spec's skills, I just don't like that personally. And the last thing is a 4th specialization slot. I did see a guy mention this in the comment section on Reddit, and I was like, what? No, there is absolutely no way they're going to do that. If they are going to do it, it's going to be a way similar to Wooden Potatoes' idea, where it's not anything that really impacts gameplay significantly, it's just other shit. I forget what exactly his idea was. This was a while ago he came up with that idea. I think it was back in February. Yeah. So those are the things that I definitely think are off the table. I don't think those are going to happen. But the things that I do think are going to happen, or have a chance of happening, is the first thing here that I would fucking love to see, and that they could just do that, and I would be like, holy fuck, is that unlocking the weapons that are tied to elite specializations. I've also seen ideas for them literally just adding new weapons to a whole profession, right? So, like, Ranger could get, like, a fucking rifle across everything, you know, for instance. That's just an example that could happen, right, if that were to happen. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. I would love to see, I mean, I would be fine with it, but I would love to see that unlocking idea. Could you imagine? And for me, that would make Mechanist so much more fun. As someone who wants a pet-based elite spec, but just hates most of Engineer's weapons, being able to use a fucking sword from Holosmith or a hammer from Scrapper on fucking Mechanist, dude, holy shit, that would be fun, man. I would really enjoy that. Or being able to use a dagger on Untamed, you know, being able to use fucking Greatsword on Renegade, you know, just shit like that, dude. It would be so much fun. I would love to see something like that. I think that'd be great. Another thing here is some sort of additional, like, talents, right, to the hero tab and all that. Now, what I could see happening is I don't think we've ever seen a 4th trait, right? So we could see a 4th trait being added to, like, the core specializations. I could maybe see that, or you know how there's, like, passive traits? I forget the exact name for them, right? But in between, you know, the selectable traits, you have a passive trait. I would love to see an additional Grandmaster, like, passive trait after, you know, the last Grandmasters, you know? I would personally love to see that. I think that'd be really, really cool. Maybe there could be a fucking boon share thing for Beast Mastery. God, please just give us good boon share and Ranger. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Who fucking knows, man? A core elite spec ascension system. Now, I talked about this, and Wooden Potatoes talked about it, and I expanded upon it a bit. This was back in February. Of course, we didn't do it in the same video, okay? I'm not even in his league, okay? I'm not in the same ballpark he's in. I made a video that was sort of like talking about his ideas and expanding upon them. That's what I mean. So, although I don't know who the fuck would actually think that when they look at my channel, you know, but I'm just saying. An ascension system, right? So you would take an existing core specialization, and you could ascend it, and it would replace your elite spec, but it would essentially fulfill it allow like a new role kind of thing, right? It's like an ascension system where, you know, some new shit would be unlocked, maybe a new like mechanic. It'd be like an elite spec, but it wouldn't, you know, have like new skills or whatever. New skills, maybe not even a new weapon. It would just be like a new kind of play style, right? So Beast Mastery Ranger, okay, we can get a pet-based fucking elite spec, something like that, okay? Some sort of elite spec system alternative with the core specializations. This would allow them to essentially boost up the core classes, right? Because there's some core classes that I genuinely like better than the elite specs. I would love to see that. I would love core Necromancer to actually be relevant in PvE. That would be fucking fun, dude. I would love to do that. Another thing here is a new set of skills per profession. Just add fucking new skills, man. So you get like, you know, like fucking potions, you know, on a fucking elementalist. You know, you could get, what could you get on a Ranger, bro? I don't even know what would make sense for a Ranger. Preparation skills, where animals come out of them. Who fucking knows? You're trapping animals and you're releasing them. You're keeping them in cages, okay? I think that'd be kind of funny and cool. You know, PETA, don't come after me, please. Yeah, that would be cool. Another idea that I saw from Wooden Potatoes a while back. This was, I think, around, like, this was back when he was doing End of Dragons Dailies videos, like, a couple years ago. This was forever ago, at least in my lifetime, even though I'm 22. That's the 2 years ago. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, yeah, so this was a while ago. Him and Boots talked about variants on the weapons, right? So you would take a Ranger Greatsword, but then you change up the skills and make it a completely different weapon, right? So perhaps it would be a mobility-based Greatsword. That would be something absolutely insane. Or something like Ranged, where you're mixing nature magic with the Greatsword and you're launching the spirits of animals. You know, your auto attack is like the Mesmer one, but instead of the laser beam, you're launching like these spirit eagles to go and chase down your foes and just claw them to death. I think that'd be really cool. That's just an idea, some sort of variants for the weapons that we already have that, you know, take the weapons, but then shift them to have different skills. I would love that. I think that'd be really, really cool. And not just like a new auto attack. I'm talking about the entire fucking tree, alright? Actually, now that I think about it, a mobility-based Greatsword on Ranger wouldn't make any sense, considering it already has a good bit of mobility to it. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the video, man. That is sort of some of my ideas for what the hell they're gonna do. I'm sure we'll find out in a few months whatever they're gonna do, but for now, we're just in speculation territory, unless if fucking CMC went on Mighty Teapot's stream and started saying something or something like that. I don't fucking know, man. Anyway, that's it. Peace.